Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel DS Tech Mirror. Topic for today's video is elevating current user permission inside SPFX web part. As many of you already know that SPFX web part runs in the context of the current user. At present, Microsoft does not provide any solution to elevate current user permission level inside SPFX web part, but there are few workarounds. In this video, we will see how to achieve this. For hands-on purpose, we will create a SharePoint list item by elevating the permission of the current user or impersonating current user. The SharePoint list item will not be created using the current user credential. To implement our today's scenario, we will follow these three steps. Number 1. Register our add-in in SharePoint Online with full control permission. In SharePoint Online, for elevating permission level, we have to use add-in policy. That is, we have to register our add-in inside SharePoint using app only policy. In the next step, we will be creating our Power Automate flow to create the SharePoint list item. And in the third and the final step, we will be calling our Power Automate flow from inside our SPFX web part. So let's get started. So as a first step, to register our SharePoint add-in, I have come to this page, that is app.regnew.aspx. To come to this page, what you can do, just go to your SharePoint site and append _layout/15/app.regnew.aspx. Then, as a first step, what we will do, we will generate our client ID. We'll click on this generate button. This will generate our client ID. Then we will generate the client secret. Then we will give the title. So I'll give the title as DS Tech Mirror Elevate Permission. Then app domain, I will give the app domain. Then you can give your, as an app domain, you can mention your SharePoint tenant app domain. Then the redirect URL I will give. After filling out this form, I will click on create button. So what it will do, it will register my add-in. The app identifier has been successfully generated. So I have generated the client ID and the client secret. I will note down my client ID and the client secret because I will be needing it later on. So I will save it here. Now what I will do, I will provide permission to this client ID and client. Our next step will be to grant permission to the app which we have generated. For that, I have come to this page appinv.aspx. Now what I have to do, I have to enter my app ID which will be my client ID. So I will go to my client ID which I have noted down. I will copy it and click on lookup. So it has populated my app detail. So in this permission request XML, I will provide the permission to my app. For that, I will copy and paste the XML. So this is the XML which I have pasted. So you can see the tags app permission request, allow app only policy true. In SharePoint Online, allow app only policy. If it's true, then it will elevate the permission of the current user. Inside that, I have app permission request. I have provided the scope. For the scope I have provided, I will be elevating the permission till the list level. So there are various levels, like you can elevate the permission of the tenant, then of the site collection, web. So over here I am elevating the permission of the list. Rights permission I am providing full control. Then app permission request tags closed. So what I'll do, I'll create it. So over here it is asking us to trust our app and also provide the permission to the list. So it has given us all the list in our site. So we will select the list. So I will select the test list. So what it will do, it will give my app full control permission over the test list which is present in my site. So I will trust it. So out of the three steps, we have completed the first step. We have created our add-in and registered it inside SharePoint Online and granted the full control permission over the list. So in our hands-on, we will be using the test list. So now we will be moving on to our next step, that is creating Power Automate flow. Before that, I will show you that our add-in got registered. So for that, I will go to my site settings. So this is my site settings page. From here, under site collection administration, I will go to site collection app permission. So in this site collection app permission, you can see this was the app which we have registered, DS Tech Mirror Elevate Permission, and this is our app identifier. So from here we will copy the part 2 after the @ So this is our tenant ID. We will be needing it later on. So I will copy the tenant ID also, and I have already copied my client ID and the client secret. So this is my tenant ID. So now I have all the three IDs, that is client ID, client secret and tenant ID. So let's go to the next step and create Power Automate flow. So guys, as a next step we will create a Power Automate flow. For that I'm in my tenant through URL powered portal.office.com. From here, like I'll show you, you can go to portal.office.com and you will land on this page. So from here you can click on Power Automate. So to create a new flow, I will click on this plus sign, that is create. I'm getting the options how to trigger my flow. So I will select instant flow, and then how to trigger my flow, I will select when an HTTP request is received. So guys, I will select this one. When an HTTP request is received, I will expand it. So you can see over here HTTP post URL is blank. It is saying URL will be generated after save. So what we will do, we will create this flow, then we will save it. We will get this HTTP post URL, and then we will create one SPFX web part. From inside that web part we will call this flow. So that will be our entire flow. So let's see. So as a first step, we have to request the body JSON schema. So for that I will use this simple payload to generate schema. So what I'll do simple title and let's say blank. I will click on done. So it is giving me error, unexpected token. Okay, so I have to put my title in double quotes. So now I will put my simple array type syntax like title, and it will be blank. So it will generate this JSON schema on its own. So as a next step, I will go to new step. So as a next set of action, I will call HTTP, because now what I will do, I will get the access token to create a list item, because I will be using a REST API to create a list item in my SharePoint list, and for the authorization purpose I will be using my access token. So for getting the access token I will use HTTP call. So this is my method. So it will be post. It is asking me for the URL to get the access token in the headers and the body. So I have copied the URL. I'll show you. So this is my URL to get the access token. So this is https accounts.accesscontrol.windows.net. So this is the REST API URL to get the access token, and after slash you have to copy your tenant ID. This is my tenant ID which I have already copied here. See, this is my tenant ID and slash token slash auth slash 2. So this is my complete REST API URL. I will copy paste it by flow. See, now I have to mention my headers. So headers are content type. So content type will be application slash x hyphen www hyphen form hyphen URL encoded. So this is my content type. So over here I mentioned my content type. So now for this REST request, body part is left. So this will be my body. It is consisting of three parts. One is my client ID, then client secret, and my tenant ID. So first part of body will be grant underscore type is equal to client underscore credential and client underscore ID. So I have copied my client ID. So I will copy paste my client ID over here. See, and after @ it should be my tenant ID. So it is my tenant ID. So this complete grant underscore type equal to client underscore credential and client ID will be my client ID @ tenant ID. The next will be and client secret. So I have copied, this is my client secret which I have copied while registering the app. I will replace my client secret, and then and resource equal to, till here it will remain the same. It is a GUID. After that, after slash, it is your tenant URL. So this is my tenant URL, and after @ my tenant ID. So this will be my complete body. Client ID at tenant ID, then client secret, then my tenant URL and tenant ID. So you can see this will be my complete body. So I will copy paste my this body in my flow. So guys, this will be my body. I will format it. So guys, this is my body. So my HTTP request is ready. So I will go to the next step. So it will give me the access token. So it will return me a body. So to it in the JSON format. So to get the access token out of that JSON, I will use the next step as parse JSON. I will parse that JSON. So this is my parse JSON. So now it is requiring me the content and the schema. So the schema, I will show you how to get the schema, how to generate it, and how to generate the content. So first of all, for that we have to call this flow. So what I'll do, I'll stop my flow creation over here. I will delete this part, and you can see over here my URL will get generated because I will save my flow now. Before that, I will rename this part also, that is HTTP fetch access token. So we are fetching access token over here and save. So now I have saved. See, I have got the HTTP post URL. So now what I will do to make it easier how to go to next step, first of all I will call this flow from my SPFX web part. So guys, this is my SPFX web part which I will be using to call my Power Automate flow. So I have created this web part and I will be using React to develop it. So this is our third and the final step, and our second step, that is creating Power Automate flow. We have aborted that step for now in between. After completing this, we'll go back to it and we will complete our flow. This is my component. So inside this I will be creating my state interface. So why we need properties and state in React SPFX. So I've explained in my previous video, that is handle large list using SPFX. So if you are not aware about that, you can go back to my old video and you can go through it. I will share the link in the description box. So for now I will directly create the state interface. I elevated permission state.ts. So this is my state interface. I will create the interface inside it. I will export it so that I can use it inside my component. Inside this I will declare one property status, and the type of my the status property will be string. So now I will go to my component file. Inside I will be importing my state. So this is my state and I will import the class I elevated permission state. Okay, next I will be creating few properties. This also I have explained in my previous video. One will be context, to pass the web part context from the web part file to the component file, because inside the component file we don't have the web part context. We have the web part context only in this ts file, elevated permission web part.ts file. So context, it will be of type web part context. So quick fix will be to import it. So it automatically gets imported from Microsoft/SP web part base. And another, I think I will be required description is fine, context is fine. Another property I will be requiring flow URL, the post URL which got generated automatically, that I need. So these three properties I will be needing. I will now go to my permission file. From here I will pass the property. This also I have explained in my previous video. So one is the context, that is this dot, we automatically have this dot context, and third is the flow URL. Flow URL we will for passing the flow URL we will use web part properties. So over here we have web part properties, get property pane configuration. So inside this I will be creating one more property. Description is already there, so I will be creating one more property. So again this will be a text field, so I will use property pane text field. My property name will be flow URL. Then how to create it, I am taking the this property is already created. This property is already there, so I am using it to create a new property. So next I have to create the label. So over here I can hard code also, and I can also use this string file over here. We have, I'll show you. If you go to this LOC folder, that is called local folder. So inside this I have this mystring.d.ts and en.us.js. So I will use this file. I will go to this file and I will declare flow URL label, and this will be of string, and then inside this file I will give the value. I will give Power Automate URL. This will be the label of our web part property. So over here I will use my, we have in this file you can see we have exported the string, see flow URL label. So now my flow has the label also. I have created the property. So this is my property which I have created in my React. So I will assign it through my web part property. So this dot properties dot, okay, before that I have to declare it over here, my property. This is my web part property. Web part property. So now my flow URL. So I have passed all the properties. Now I will directly go to the component file, but before that, because I will be using one button, that is create list item. I will use that button for creating list item, and that will be Office UI Fabric React button. So for that I will install Office UI Fabric React. So for that I will go to the terminal, control tilt. My terminal is already running, so I will kill this process, and from here again I will start it. To install Office UI Fabric I will use this command, npm install office -ui -fabric -react. So my Office UI Fabric installation is in progress. So our Office UI Fabric React installation is complete. So now I will go to my component file. This is my component file. So inside this I will import my Office UI Fabric button. So now I imported the Office UI Fabric button as well. So now we will modify this, the DOM of my web part. So this is the out of the box DOM. We don't need to change much in this. It just we will create one button and one status where we will show the status of the item which we will create. So I will delete this anchor tag and I will create a button. So this is my button, and on click I will be calling a function over here which I will create in. After this I will create name of my button will be create item, and after this what I need one div. Its id I will put as dv underscore status, and we will display our status over here. So I think I'm done with creating my DOM structure. So now I will create my function to create the list item. Basically from inside SPFX we will call our Power Automate flow. So I will name my function as call Power Automate, and also from here I will pass my state also. And before that, let me remove this commenting. I will call the constructor. So now I will start developing this function, public call Power Automate. So this function will return us a promise. We will use REST API to call our flow. Our promise will be of type HTTP response. So for that I will be importing my HTTP response. So let me import that from @microsoft/hp/sp/http. So this is my service. From this I will call HTTP client configuration, and HTTP response. In my previous video where we were directly interacting with SharePoint list from inside SPFX, we used SP HTTP client, but now we are not interacting with the SharePoint, so I'm just using TTP client. So this is the difference over here. So from here also we will be receiving, this function will give us HTTP response. So now my promise will be of type HTTP response. I will give HTTP client response inside this function. So I have to resolve this promise. I will return the promise, return new promise of type HTTP response. This will be of type HTTP client response, and inside this is the same logic we are following as in my previous video, as again and again I'm saying. So in case if anybody is having doubt, they can refer that. Resolve in that video I've explained in detail. So this is my promise. It is giving me an error over here. So because this is giving me error because I think my P will be capital. So yeah, so return my promise. So inside this I will make the REST API call. So it will be this dot props dot, because inside the properties I have the context, this dot props dot context dot http client dot. So this will be a post method, and inside that I have to pass three parameter. One is the URL, another is the configuration. So http client dot configuration dot v1, and third will be my headers. So I will pass them over here. Before that I have to create my URL, REST API URL. So I will create it over here. So I will name it as let REST API URL. It will be of type string, and its values we will use from my web part properties. So this dot props dot flow URL, and from see we use this React property flow URL, and React will get its property from the web part property. From here I am passing this dot properties dot flow URL. So when I will deploy my web part, I will edit my web part, and in the properties pane configuration, that is my web part properties configuration, I will pass the flow URL from there, and then it will get it over here. So over here I will pass REST API URL. So one of the parameter is done, configuration is done. So now we are left with the header. So inside this first one is the headers, as I told you. So headers we will pass, first is the accept header. Its value will be, okay, it will not come within the quotes. So it is accept application slash JSON, and I want to keep the payload minimal, so I will use OData is equal to no metadata. OData is equal to no metadata. So after accept I have content type value will be same, so I will copy paste. The last one is OData version, that will be blank, and last I have to pass the body. I will pass the, to my flow I will pass the value which I want to create in my SharePoint list. So right now I put it as blank, so we will create the body in a moment. So see these are my three parameter: REST API URL, configuration, constant, body will be of type string to JSON dot stringify we will use, and I will pass my title. This will be my list item. So its value will be let's say run with elevated privileges. This yeah, run. Let's say we will append the time also. So now my body is also ready, so I will pass over here body. So this is my complete function. So this is my complete function call Power Automate. What I'm doing, I'm using HTTP client response instead of SP HTTP client, because we are not interacting with any SharePoint list. From over here I have got the body, I'm passing the title value, then REST API URL I will pass from the web part property, and so and configuration.v1 directly we will use, and these are my headers. So now I will go to the then. What will happen once I get the response from the flow that whether my request is executed successfully or it got failed. So for that I will use then, and inside this I will use the response. My response type will be HTTP client response. I have already imported it at the top. So inside this what I will do, I will log my response just to see in the browser, and after that I will do response.json. I will convert it into JSON format, and once it get formatted I will do then let's name this result as response.json, and inside this I will resolve my promise. response JSON dot value. So I have completed my code for calling the my Power Automate flow. So let me see if I have missed anything. So yeah, so we have to just update this status. To update the status, what I will do, when I will click on my Power Automate function, first let me uh, call this function over here on click this dot call Power Automate, and let me bind it into my constructor also. At this constructor I will bind this dot call Power Automate is equal to this dot call Power Automate dot bind. I will bind it with this. So this is also complete. Now I have to use my state. So as soon this dot set state, as soon as this function will get called, my state will get set to status will be in progress, and inside before resolving my promise, this dot set state status will be item created successfully, and I will pass the same in my div, my status value, this dot state dot status. Now let me put it inside that div only. After my button I will create it. So I have created everything. What I'm left with is initiating my state inside the constructor. So this is my constructor. I will call the parent constructor also. Yeah, also my constructor C will be small. So yeah, so I've called my parent constructor, otherwise it will give me error. So I was wondering why it is not giving me error. So yeah, so actually my C was capital, so I call my parent constructor, I binded my function. Now I want to just set my state, this dot state, and that will be status. So I have set my state as well. So I think I am done with my function. I have pretty much covered everything in this. So just to give you a brief about it, what we have done inside my DOM, I have just created one button to call my Power Automate, to call my flow. I have this on click, I have called one function, and this div will reflect the status, and this is my function. Inside this we are making this REST call for my function. This REST API URL we will pass from the web part properties. So let me run it now. So for that I will go to the terminal and I will type gulp serve. So guys, my gulp serve process is completed. I will test my web part now in SharePoint Workbench. This is my SharePoint Workbench. It will also work in local Workbench because we are not interacting with SharePoint. So you can test it any of the Workbench. So what I will do, I will add my web part over here. My web part name is Elevate Permission. So this is my web part. So you can see our web part is working. So now these are my web part properties. I told you we will pass the Power Automate URL from the web part properties. Here you can see the property which we created. Now we will paste the Power Automate URL. So this was my flow which I created. So this is the URL which got created after we save this flow. So I will copy the URL from here and I will paste this URL. Now I will click on create item. So it is showing in progress, but it must have triggered our flow. So let's go and check. I have refreshed this page. So see, 36 seconds ago our flow got triggered. So I'll click on it. So if you remember, I aborted my flow in between. I was developing it, but I stopped it in between for a reason. I will tell you now why I stopped this flow. So earlier what we were doing, we were parsing this JSON, we were parsing the output which we will receive from the HTTP fetch access token. So just to revise it, what we did, we created a flow when a HTTP request is received. So our SharePoint framework send a HTTP request, our flow got triggered. Inside this we fetch the HTTP access token using the REST API. This was the REST API, and now what we will do, we will go see, this is the output. See, over here I went, over here you can see this is the output which my, so this is my instance of the flow which got run. So I will expand it. You can see it got successfully completed. So it successfully gave me the access token. So I will use this access token to create a list item in SharePoint using REST API, and through access token we will authorize our request. So see this. This is the output which it is giving us. So let's go to the next step. I was using parse JSON. So parse JSON. So this is my data operation parse JSON. This is one. So over here I have two requirements. One is the content. So content HTTP fetch access token. So the output of this step, that is the body, will be my content, and I have to provide the schema. So at this step I stopped my flow earlier. So what I have to put in the schema. So what I will do, see, this is the output which I am getting from my previous step. So I will copy it as it is. I will go back, generate from sample, and I will paste it over here. So I have pasted everything as it is. So just to get this output from the previous step, I stopped my flow at that time and I created the SharePoint framework part before. Now my SharePoint framework triggered this web part and I got this output. I'll click on done. So now it generated this schema for me. So now I don't have to do anything manually. I just get the output from the previous step and copy it over here. So now what I'll do, I'll go to the next step and I will create the HTTP request to create an item in the SharePoint list. So this is my HTTP. So my method will be post URL. So URL will be on which I have registered, on which I have given my app full control permission. So this will be my request. So now I have to enter the headers and the body part. So my first header will be authorization. I will authorize my request. So in the authorization I will pass my access token. See, parse JSON has given me this output. So it has passed the JSON response. So because of which I use parse JSON. So this is my access token which I got, and I have to mention my access token type. So again we will go to the flow. See, token type is bearer. So I will copy this and I will paste it over here, bearer. Okay, bearer, and this is access token. There should be space, so it will be like this. So this is my first header. My next header will be accept. Its value will be same, application serialization or data verbose. Next will be content type. Its value also will be same, or data verbose. And last will be HTTP method I will mention over here in my request, and that will be post. So now I will mention the body. So this will be my body. So inside body I am passing one metadata of type sp.data.list item. So over here my list name is test. So these are the simple body which we pass while we work on REST API. And title we are passing from our SharePoint framework when we are calling it. So when a HTTP request is received, from here we got the title. So we are using this title. So this is our body now. So our request is ready. Next we will get the response which we will pass to our framework SPFX web part. So this is the response. In the response body, enter response content. So response we will be status code, whatever status code we will get from our HTTP request, this one. So now our flow is completed. We will save our flow. So just we will see what all we have done in our flow. This is the trigger point when a HTTP request is received. From here we are passing the access token. In this we are parsing a JSON and fetching the and getting the access token from it. In this we are creating an item in the list. Authorization access, main thing is authorization we are doing through access token, and this is the simple list item which we are creating in our list. List name is test, and then we are sending the response. So we are, it is saved. Now what we will do, again we will trigger our flow. So again I will trigger my flow, and this time over here let's open the list test. So we will see our first item should get created. So guys, I can't see my list item over here, although my web part is saying that item is created successfully. So what I'll do, let me refresh the page again. So yeah, my list item is not created, so I think there is some issue. So let me go to the flow run. This is my flow run. I will refresh it. So this is the one. Okay, so it is saying my flow is giving a message that it got failed. So I will click on it just to see. So over here in my HTTP stage, that is when I am creating the item, I am getting an error. So the error is the request has an invalid header. Okay, so let's go to the header section. It is authorization is sanitized, accept, content type. So I don't find any issue with my header. Let me go to the flow. So with my header. So this is another mode, switch to text mode. I will do it. Okay, I can see. Okay, I can see that there is a backslash and between my bearer and the access token. Okay, so what I will do, I will just clear it and I will give a simple space. I'll go back. Yeah. So I think what I did earlier was there should be some space between bearer and the access token. So I think I pressed the enter, because of which there's a backslash n, and because of which it was giving error. So save the flow. So let's try again. In progress, item created successfully. Let me first go to my flow run. Yeah, this time my flow succeeded. Let me see if item got created. Yes guys, we can see that item is there in the list. So this is the item which got created, run with elevated permission using app account. This is the timestamp, and you can see the created by is not current username, it is SharePoint app. It means it got run. This item got created by the credential of the app which we registered in our first step, and we gave our app full control permission over this list. You can see modified by SharePoint app, and this is the app name DS Tech Mirror elevated permission which we registered in the first step. So guys, over here we achieve the run with elevated privileges in SPFX, but in a indirect way. That this is a workaround, because directly at present we do not have anything to achieve it. So this is just one of the workaround. So we will try again. So create item. So my item is getting created. I think item will get created. Yeah. So it is working fine. So this is one of the way in which we can impersonate the current user in SPFX. So guys, we follow all the 3 steps to achieve it. In the first step, we register our add-in with full control permission. In the second step, we created the Power Automate flow to create the item in the list. In the third and the final step, we call our Power Automate flow from the SPFX web part. So in short, I have created a slide for you for all the important points which you can use when you will try at your end. So you will use this URL app.origin. In this you will register your add-in. It will over here, from here you will generate the client ID and the client secret, keep it separately and safe with you. In this second step, app.inv.aspx, in this you will enter your client ID and it will generate the details, app details for you, and you will give permission to your app using this code, using this XML, the below XML you can see. And then in the flow where you will be generating the access token, this is the API which you will be using to generate the access token. So in this, the highlighted part, tenant ID, you have to enter your tenant ID. The tenant ID you can get it from site setting, under site collection app permission. From there you will see your app present over there, and the part 2 after the @ part, that will be your tenant ID. So you will enter your tenant ID, and this will be the body for the HTTP get access token. This is grant type equal to client underscore credential and client ID. So you will enter your client ID and tenant ID. Then client secret, this will be your client secret, and resource, this will remain the same. You will enter your tenant URL and tenant ID. So if you follow all the above steps, you will be able to achieve this. So guys, thanks for watching this video, and if you face any issue while trying it at your end, please let me know in comments. I will be there to help you out. Guys, please like and share this video and press the subscribe button to get the notification about my new video. Till then, much love, keep learning. Thank you.